Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Totally Oblivious Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb, co-host Alex.
Meow.
And, Alex.
What?
It's been 5 years.
You'd be a little bit more specific on that. 5 years from what?
It's been 5 years since we were last in high school.
Okay.
It's been 5 years since COVID.
That is... like to the date?
Yeah.
Oh.
As of us recording this.
I checked my phone, but I forgot it at my house.
I don't know how we did that. But yeah, I think because it was March 13th was like the last full day that we really had.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we went the following Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a half day-ish thing. And then it was bye.
Never saw
anyone ever again.
Saw maybe like Fry a few times.
Pretty much, if you've seen them on the podcast,
those are the only people.
Those are like the only ones. Maybe two exceptions have not been on the podcast that we've seen since.
I've seen maybe like one or two guys.
What,
past
Garrett?
That. Yeah.
And Matt. That's
Ruben.
pretty much it.
Yeah.
Ruben's been on the podcast though.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Like that's really been it though. Everybody else disappeared.
They believed. People have died during this five year skip.
It's true. It is actually true. It's wild.
I guess technically Nat counts too.
Well, she was also on the podcast.
That is also true. But I date her now. Like before then, it was just like a girl I knew during that last year.
Technically, then, wouldn't she be added? She wasn't like a main character yet.
Yeah, it's one of those like foreshadowing.
It's a foreshadowing.
Yeah. I guess that's what that counts as.
But isn't that weird?
It doesn't feel like 5 years.
It doesn't.
Maybe like 2.
It really. Oh man, because when I realized that, I was like, was I really? It was only 5 years ago that I was in high school, and now I'm an adult who pays taxes.
Fuck taxes. All my homies hate the IRS.
Hate them.
Yeah, no, it's a different. I can definitely say I was severely hindered without my nearly fully developed frontal lobe. I can definitely tell there's an attitude.
Most people are. No, I think that is.
If I were to look at my high school self, I would be like, I'm proud of you in some ways, but others, damn, we did just a fucking improvement.
Man, you needed help.
Yeah, I feel like I'm doing pretty good now. Cross my fingers. We were like slightly a month and a few days away from part 7. So in those 5 years, I've had part 6 and maybe part 7 coming. That's kind of crazy for JoJo. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know. I kind of want to talk about that those last couple days of life before everything got turned upside down.
You know what I distinctly remember? I think my brain now, right, in a sense, is like kind of romanticizing it a bit and almost kind of putting an aesthetic to it. Mm. It's very... If I had my phone... Fuck, man. If I had my phone, I would be able to tell you. Because on Spotify, right, almost weirdly with my big playlist, it's almost chronologic in a sense. And there's a period of time where I could tell you is like, this is the final days of high school. Like this gallery of songs. I can maybe in post I can send you some screenshots, but like a lot of Uzi, a lot of Cardi, some 21 Savage was a little bit in there. I just remember the music. I just remember just being like chilling with Ben, Dylan, Jarrett, Ruben, and just like going to Wendy's or something and just listening to that music. And I do remember that day, man. That same day that happened, I ended up having to work at Leprechaun for a long ass time because they needed us.
That sounds like that was torture.
It really did. I was like, this is some bullshit, bro.
Wait a minute.
Did not give a fuck. Because in reality, looking back at it, I'm like, toilet paper, really? Just go to the shower and just wipe your ass cheeks, man.
That was so stupid.
Oh no, those
of all the things they bought, Why toilet paper?
I have no
Why was
clue.
it such a huge obsession with toilet paper
I don't
of
know,
all things?
people really got in their whole mind.
Because you know the first thing I went and bought when it was like things are really going down, because it was like, I don't know, I guess to give kind of context to the timeline, it started like December of 2019 that it was started to be like, oh, there's this new virus. Things are kind of weird. Where people are quarantining around the world, and then progressively as we got towards like the end of February, it was like closures and closures around the country. And once we got to that day, I was like, all right, so it's just been confirmed that we're going on lockdown. What's the first thing I'm gonna stockpile on? And then I proceeded to look deep inside myself, and I said, turnip seeds. I'm gonna buy vegetable seeds.
Okay. Did you end up using them?
Why
turnips?
I like turnips. Turnips are the vegetable of the apocalypse.
Well, wouldn't potatoes be pretty good since they don't need a fucking growing soil?
Technically, turnips did get us out of the Great Depression because they add nutrients to the soil after it's been after it's used for a long period of time. I think if I remember my history right, is that's pretty much how they saved the Midwest, is they just planted turnips.
Go fucking
like
figure.
There's a lot of other vegetables they planted, but in specific turnips were a big part of what saved it. Plus I think they're very easy to grow, and so it was a very hardy thing to be able to grow and sell as food. So yeah, I might be wrong on that, but that's how that's right. That's what I remember here.
I don't think I really stockpiled anything. You know what's weird? It's okay. I want to give you.
I didn't even stockpile. I just said we'll probably need these. If things go as south as they could, we might need these.
It was weird for me during that like maybe 2-year stretch in the beginning, because it was like, this is gonna sound so fucked up for so many people. Nothing changed for me because I still went to work in 2 different jobs. If anything, I went into the medical industry and then was upfront with it. It didn't really okay.
Well, that was like towards like as it was declining.
Yeah, but it was still weird that I went from this job that didn't really change much and I still was doing stuff, right? To then ultimately like going to working at a hospital, not realizing, wait a minute, there's still COVID around. I didn't think about that while working at the hospital. I was like, oh wait, COVID, fuck.
Because yeah, by that time it was just kind of like, it kind of had sizzled out a little bit.
By then, yeah. There was a few spots in the hospital that I got crazy, but past that, no. For me, it never felt like I was quarantined. Like I could still do everything, which then kind of speaks out about my lifestyle.
You've always been kind of where you just were at home.
Yeah. But it has its ups and downs. I've realized after dating Nat, I was like, damn, I probably should have gone out more. Experienced things a little bit more closer to like that 18, 20-year-old demographic. But now I'm 22, almost turning 23. But I don't really regret it that much because of what I've been doing and how I see the future. And I hope it turns out I'll be like, hey, I think I might have had its long-term benefits. But those first few years didn't really feel all that different to me. I still did things.
You just did what you always did.
Yeah. It was, maybe there was a bit of like postpartum high school depression that hit in on top of all that. So like I was still affected, but it was just like, damn.
But like, do you remember specifically like that your last day at the school? Like,
okay, so I didn't go to the last day.
I went to the last one. I think it was really just like me and Alberto and then like a couple other people.
Yeah. I didn't go to the last one, but I do remember that. I don't remember the school day. I just remember going home, and I just remember it was gray.
It was
okay, no.
gray.
I remember the last hour.
The last in Mrs. Robertson's.
In Mrs. Robertson's, I remember just chilling there, just kind of Alex Maxing, just chilling, just abusing Mrs. Robertson's freedoms, just twirling my feet like this. But then all of a sudden, somebody says something, right? It's like, oh, Jay Ainsley. And I'm like, what are we yapping about?
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about? Then Hannah to the left of me goes, Jay Ainsley just signed an order for schools to like shut down.
That's right. Yeah,
COVID lockdown.
Because
what the fuck?
It was like that whole day was kind of like everyone was up. I don't think we even did schoolwork really that day because everybody was just kind of like watching the news to see if it. Because I guess
I
was really
to me. I didn't know that shit was happening until that last hour.
That's crazy because I was keeping up on it the whole time. I was like, because I remember hearing about it like on the news, and I think my mom was talking about it the night before during dinner. So I was kind of like keeping up with like what the teachers were saying. I was like, hold on, something might happen because I think I remember specifically. I know in Vega's second period class, his economic class, I know that was a really big topic because the economy was just absolutely dying.
Caleb, show the stock prices.
That time it had a reason to drop,
which is crazy. But
like I remember that being the topic then. I don't actually remember what my third period was, but I do remember once we got to Hoffheinz I do remember that was statistics, and again another college level class where the teacher was like,
we are fucked.
These are concerning things, but I got to prepare you for what might happen so we can take our statistics stuff and make sure that the rest of this class goes smoothly. And I was like, all right. And then we get to Hoffheinz class, and then it was a really big topic. I'm surprised you weren't really it didn't really cross your mind then, because Hoffheinz was really going into it, like, because he was like,
I was so horny that nothing else mattered. I was daydreaming about other shit, dog. No. I was not a fucking care in the fucking world.
Here, the duality of me and Alex. Alex, rainbows and sunshine, thinking of fantasizing about.
I spent most of my high school days.
Horny fantasies. Me at the war room table with all the adults being like, all right, what's gonna happen?
And in reality, looking past at it, all it really did was make old white men just angrier.
It really did. I mean,
there were some old women in there too.
In retrospect, it did, but at the time, it was really just.
And then a lot of people died.
A lot of people did actually die. So if there was a big effect, that was the big effect that people died.
There was an attitude like shift.
Yeah.
In some parts of the hospital, I noticed because. I don't know, it's MRI area. I remember one of the doctors where they would scan stuff out had a newspaper taped to his door, and it was like more deaths than 9/11 and some shit like that. So it's just like some people were pissed off, man. They were fucking. There was little rebellions every like. How do I put this? Hold on, because I'm using full brain power here. So COVID didn't really do damage to like a crazy degree, like the Spanish flu or the Black Plague. Not even close to the Black Plague. But what it did, it had a weird side effect to where I think politically and just emotionally, people are like still weird about it.
Because technically, I guess it was kind of a build off for the longest time of people being like, nah, vaccines, man. But it was like, I think the reason why it didn't go as bad as those past plagues is because we had learned from those past ones and had prepared ourselves to be equipped for that.
Yeah.
But what we were not equipped for was stupidity.
And it came in droves.
It was insane. Because, like, at first, everybody was kind of like on the same page, right? Because I remember that's why all the lockdowns were happening, because everyone was like, okay, we're on the same page. If we lock down and make sure that everything, like, sure that the disease doesn't spread so we can actually learn more about it before it
2 weeks, guys. 2 weeks of quarantine. We don't have to do this.
Because that's what all the teachers were talking about. It was like, it's probably gonna lock down. I remember Hoffheinz saying this like 2 weeks before this happened. He's like, we're probably gonna be the next ones. I've been keeping up on it. A lot of schools on the west side are shutting down, And with the heavy traffic that's been happening with all the tournaments and stuff, there's probably going to be lockdown coming to us like relatively soon. And I was like, oh, shoot.
God, hold on. Backtracking or like going on a side tangent. What the fuck was I doing during any of this?
Apparently you were that horny.
I was a fiend.
That you were not paying attention to any of this important historical things happening.
Did not give a flying fuck. I won't even lie, bro, because what time was this around? You know what my mind was on? I can tell you. Realistically, I will be fair. I was a horny teenager. Go fucking figure. Thank God I wasn't in college. I would have been places. But what I was focused on was work and YouTube. I now realize how I got to this point was the utter obsession of that. I think YouTube utterly consumed me like the Venom symbiote consumed Eddie. And I did not give a fuck about anything else. I think I remember daydreaming about making YouTube videos in Hoffheinz's class. I think during those last 2 weeks of that, I think that's when I was most engrossed. I think around then, hold on. God damn it, I don't have my fuck. I have screenshots because I always took a screenshot on my subscriber count. I think around this time, I might have been around 500 subscribers, maybe 1,000. I think. God, it was fucking crazy, bro. Anyway, I was engrossed. Anyway, that's why I wasn't paying attention.
Going back to where it was, because everybody was on that same page that it was like we just shut down society for just a little bit to make sure that the disease does not spread as rampantly as it's looking like it's gonna, so we can make sure that the scientists have an idea of what we're dealing with. And somehow in the span of when our school shut down, between that and probably, about like 1 to 2 weeks, it was like immediate, we are gonna, not listen to any of that. Everybody go out and do whatever you want. It's like, what do you mean?
So I can tell you why that happened. So
I think I have an idea too.
Politically, it was used as a stunt,
and it was so dumb.
I want you to know, for the people that, if you had a family member that died or was severely wounded by it, either two things. Maybe one, they probably deserved it. I'm looking at my father. You definitely did deserve it. That was karma. Second off, though, what the news ended up telling people was bad, because, of course, the news over the past like 40 years, maybe closer to 50, has been drama. It's not actually used for proper news. It's just it's the most blatant but pure form of clickbait. It's just made to piss you off. So what ended up happening is, through the news cycle and people just getting angry and being, I won't lie, I think it was a lot of the conservative folk.
Oh, it was 100% them
who were just not really like forward thinking about this, which makes sense. No, I don't. That subset of people. I'm not trying to be a dickhead. Don't look forward far enough to see the effects of it. It's only the present.
They only see what they're. And what's funny is those conservatives, those same people who, like 2 weeks into lockdown, were like, no, we're going out, we're doing whatever we want, no masks, we're gonna go out and fight for our rights, this is a democracy, where's our freedom, we are being imposed upon, are the same people who bought up all the toilet paper the weeks prior.
Yes.
And it's like, you morons.
No, it was definitely
you absolute morons. Turning that political was and is probably one of the dumbest things that our country has ever done.
I don't even think the Spanish flu was that bad.
It wasn't.
Right? I don't know too much about that point in history. Mind you, I have other interests in history that I can definitely tell you.
Like I said, the problem with the flus of the past, like the Spanish flu, was that they were not prepared and they didn't have the technology to be prepared for that. Whereas we should have been overly prepared for something like that. And we proceeded to just fumble the bag.
It was bad. But the whole world was kind of bad at it too. I think.
Well, that's because that rhetoric was spread throughout the globe.
It's so
it makes
weird.
No sense because what's crazy is people in the past had less knowledge on how diseases work. Granted, probably a bigger percentage of them did die, but at the same time, they had less knowledge of how it worked, but yet they were still more capable of organizing than we were.
Okay, I have two trains of thoughts right now. One, post Black Death Europe must have been fucking baller because looking back in the present real quick, the only reason why a lot of people ended up surviving is medical advancements has gone so good, natural selection cannot do its thing.
Yeah.
But back then, all the dumb people died.
And that's what's so fun. Literally, whenever you read about the plague, you always hear about their solutions to how to stop the plague. And every solution was literally a way to get themselves killed faster.
Yeah.
It's wild. And what's funny is you look to modern day, and it was the same thing.
It was.
Literally, oh my gosh, I just remember this. The president told people to put bleach in their system.
I was just about to say about the Facebook facts. That was one of them.
They literally said to put horse serum and bleach to inject that into your blood.
No.
What do you mean?
I won't lie.
How did we get to that point?
Natural selection couldn't take its place. There's downsides to modern medicine. Idiots live.
Idiots seem to find a way to live.
And you know why they also ended up working effectively back then too, or at least a lot. Like how do I put this? It's really weird how when you go a scientist be like, all right, this is how it works. Here's what the details we know. It's still advancing. People will fight against that for whatever reason. If it's facts and science based, it's always argument. It's really weird. However, if you tell the peasants that there are demons about that are by the byproduct of Jews, things change. Everybody's like, all right, there's no facts to argue. It's the Jews and demons.
Jews and demons did this.
The Black Plague era of information is fucking insane. Because for whatever reason, a lot of people were on board with it. No concern.
Didn't question it
nothing,
at all.
Nothing. But for whatever reason, I think I know this much about at least the Spanish flu, is that when science came around, people argued with the facts, but it was so weird during this point in time. And I know people were like Fauci this, Fauci that, but like I think we handled it moderately okay. I think. I say moderately loosely.
I would argue not. I'd argue we're more on the side of didn't handle it well at all.
Yeah, I was trying to give us a little bit of grace. I think Washington did fine.
Washington did do good. Overall, I think we did pretty decent.
Yeah, but it's just weird how like when presented something like an undisputable fact, right? I'm going to use a power scaling thing because I was literally just yapping about it on Twitter. Like I constantly get people telling me in my comment sections that Jotaro is not like a Lightspeed character when Araki has said it multiple times, right?
The creator himself
says in stand descriptions has surpassed the speed of light straight up. And then I get some of my subscribers telling me, yeah, we present that information to these people. I don't care what the fucking manga says. All right, so we don't give a fuck.
So you just don't care.
Attitude. That same attitude applies to a lot of things where it's like, here is an undisputable fact. You will die to this thing if you do not probably do this, or this. You are more likely to die if you have this, or this. You shouldn't be doing anything. Because that was for your own betterment.
That was when it was like another byproduct of all of that was like the rise of people just calling everything fake news. Like if you didn't agree with it, it was fake news and woke. And it's like, dude, you can't just call something not real just because you don't believe it.
Yeah.
Like that's just
but I will
harming
give some
yourself.
grace with the whole fake news thing. Is that's sort of true to like a 10% thing,
like
where it was like the news is mostly, you know, theatrical.
It's like entertainment.
Yeah, but like to some part of it, there is useful information to it. So just to outright deny it all the time is kind of dumb. And I don't want to be in like an echo chamber. I don't want to be in an echo chamber here because I try to like get out of it when I notice it. But like looking back on it, it's just like, dude, we let some of these people just go fucking crazy, dude.
Like they became like feral almost.
It was weird
because like, especially in those early months, like when they weren't letting a lot of these people into restaurants, it's like if you're gonna come in, you need to wear a mask. Like we're doing this for the safety of everyone.
Yeah.
Because that was like the biggest thing. Like people look back now and they're like, oh, it was just a cold. It's like, well, yeah, we know that now because we had research of that, but still people died.
They had like a 2%. What was it? It was low, but it's still technically to a population of, at the time, 8 billion people, right?
Yeah.
We're at 9 now. Are we 9 or 8?
I think we're still at 8.
Okay, no. So back then it was 7 billion to now 8. A 2% death rate is still hundreds of thousands of people. That's still insane. Just to go, it's just the cold. Dumb as fuck.
Still kills people. It kills people. Not only is it killing people, but also the scientific community. This is a new virus that the scientific community was at the time currently researching. That is why they didn't want it spreading everywhere, because they wanted time to be like, okay, let's figure out what this actually does to people and see how serious this situation is. But yet people were just opposed to any sort of being like, yeah, you know what, maybe we should, for our fellow human being, just take a step back, let the scientists do their thing, and then once that's over, we'll eventually get to go back outside, which we did. We eventually did get everything lifted, because eventually the scientists were able to be like, all right, we figured out everything. There's now a vaccine to help people fight this. Most of the population has either already fought it or has caught it, and now we know that it's not a pandemic anymore.
No,
that's all they needed to do, and it would have been solved so much faster.
It probably would have taken within that year, maybe like a year and a half. Another thing I wanted to complain about is, like, I know some people, like, you were there, you worked with me, you saw it. I don't tell Nat too much about these stories. Every time I bring it up, she goes, oh. It's like cleaning some of those ICU rooms where you knew they died, and they probably died of COVID or COVID-related symptoms. So it's just like, for some people to just be like it's fake. It's like, you know what, asshole? I would have loved to just have a moment. I would have a bald-headed fucks and be like, walk into this room with me. See what I do, right? I'm basically on the fucking front lines here. A person died in this room due to reckless action. And that was still a while after, like, the big onslaught of the majority of people dying. But, like, still, that was like, what, a year and a half after it all started, that it was like, yeah, people are still dying from this because it causes complications. That's the nature of this illness, causes people to die. It did. And, like, I don't know if this is entirely 100% accurate after the fact, but I knew, like, some people with diabetes had a problem with it. I don't know. Technically, that might be some bias because my dad got it. He has it. And I think my dad, for the most part, when he gets sick, I've gotten sick a few times. No, actually, I take that back. I think the times I thought I was sick was wrong. I think that was just crippling anxiety over the past few times I thought I was sick. So, not comparison to my dad fucking starts acting like a child when he gets sick. And, like, I knew he got COVID, right? But I'm all like, You deserve this. You never wore a mask at Napa. All your friends would come up to you and dab you up, give you food and drink.
He was just asking to get sick at that point.
He did. He really did at that point. And I know I came home from working at the hospital and stuff, and maybe I did a subpar job in like preserving my overall look and stuff. But it's just like, there's no fucking way you got it this bad.
Yeah,
that's very medically concerning at that point.
But yeah, I know a lot of, like, depending on the person, it affected everyone very different. Because, like, out of everyone in my family, I'm the only one who caught it and was like fine.
Oh yeah, I technically like caught it twice. But the second time might have been just me being like, I think I slightly have it.
The second time was literally like, oh no, me have headache for a day. I better not go to work. And then it was like, well, when you call to work, you got to get checked. And I got checked and I was like, oh, it's COVID. And then I proceeded to stay home and play Jurassic World Evolution.
Real.
For a whole day.
It was nice, man. It was really nice.
For us, it was. For us, we're very...
It was like, a little relaxing
relatively day. Unaffected by it. Very nice. But I know a lot of people, Colby included, either felt like they were going to die or did actually die. So it was not a joke. It was a serious thing that happened.
Yeah, it really tested. I think that was when my immune system was at its peak. That was like peak. Like I could not get sick. It was so fucking weird. I haven't got sick since then, other than maybe the anxiety stuff. But I think that was a thing that happened for like a few months. I think I've got it relatively under control now. I think so. It's just weird looking back on it and just like, it's so weird. COVID affected me, but then it didn't affect me. So it's kind of
like
weird.
You don't really realize the side effects of it until like
way later.
Even now, I even questioned if we should even talk about this now or wait till like 10 years. I was like, we might as well talk about it because it's on my mind because I checked the calendar and was flabbergasted that it's already been 5 years.
That's crazy.
But like, I don't know. You can definitely see a lot of social change that came out of
and
specific, not even just COVID, just like that year, because there's like I guess there of course was the lockdown, and people had to find new avenues. I think gaming
got worse.
I don't argue gaming got bigger. I can't say exactly worse because I'd say like
the aftermath. Okay, I can tell you this. During it was fine. Afterwards, terrible.
At least there was like that 2-year span of like very slim pickings for games.
Yeah. Because
of course they weren't able to work for like a year. So there wasn't going to be a lot of game development.
All these studios started like buying employees, right? Getting employees after the fact. We've seen the after effects of it, like in the past like year or so, where like major corporations, major studios are just laying off or just completely dying off because it's like they thought, we have all this excess money. It's like, brother, we only have this excess amount because everybody's stuck indoors, and gaming is like on the top priority of like. Hobbies and gaming got a massive boom. But then they died immediately afterwards.
I wouldn't say it died. I think it's still like a majority of people. I guess this is more talking because I've always been more on the Nintendo side, but I think because of COVID, more people got Nintendo consoles, and it got a lot of people both into gaming and back into gaming. So a lot, like the gaming community is a lot bigger now. And I'd say that that's probably the aftermath of that is now we see it's more accepted into society now to like games.
Yeah.
But then like, cause like there's Animal Crossing, people went crazy over Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of social games that really, I think,
Among Us
made the shift. Among Us was a big one.
Lethal Company was the last one of it. I
wouldn't say so because Lethal Company was post COVID.
I think okay. Here's a way I can segue into it.
Lethal Company is like a byproduct of all of that occurring.
So, sociologically speaking,
you know which one is actually from that time that I think would be an example of where you're thinking, Phasmophobia. Phasmophobia came out during that time.
That wasn't as big as what I was thinking, but it's like this is more looking not into the gaming part, but like the social aspect part, where even after COVID, right?
Yeah.
People still weren't connecting. Like the whole social ties, most if not all of them, kind of just like with us in high school. Yeah, they all mostly died. It did shatter. So by proxy of that, even in post, people still wanted to be social, and gaming through that, like party games like that, were because of it. That's why I treat Lethal Company like that. Even I'd even argue to a certain extent. Fortnite and COD were able to get large gains because of their party systems. Party systems and games, and even VR chat. That whole social space blew up during and post it. Now in the past few, I say like year and a half, where all these studios are losing people, is like we're now finally seeing it like it start to die out. Yeah. Because it's like, well, first off, we can't maintain that anymore because that's way too many people on schedule when you start getting them out. And then second, which by the way, hold on, before I go into that, your CEOs are assholes. They're stealing all their money. You can probably end up hiring all those people, but they don't want us to pay us for all of them. But going into the other aspect of it is just like people still want it, but they're not really getting it. Because I'm starting to see like a lot of like weird interactions online. It's just everybody's just getting angry, but that might just be the algorithms in and of itself. Yeah, so there's still this craving, but it's not there.
There's compounding issues that happened post COVID era, like the changing of hands, specifically with Twitter, and
it's absolutely terrible.
Completely changing the algorithm to be basically unusable.
Porn, racism, rage bait. Straight up that.
And then on top of that, compounding is the rise of AI creating bot users, which adds on to dead internet theory. Theory
improper, by the way. Like theory means like it's confirmed, not hypothesis, which most things should be like labeled as. Yeah. So it's like that's actually true. Like
it is a theory now.
Yeah.
But like I think that is also in itself a byproduct of that COVID era.
Yeah.
Because now I think we're almost entering the next big era of I think corporate greed /
neo-feudalism,
dead internet theory esque is almost where we're heading as a result of all of that. But I don't know. It's just it is weird thinking about it because I guess for me specifically, I was so used to constant having social interactions. I guess specifically with people our own age, and I don't get that anymore.
No, neither do I. I don't think I really got.
It's
other than that, maybe a few of her friends. Past that, no. It's it's mostly died out. I think in specific with Moses too is that's not what this town is built around. It's hedgehog dilemma. Everybody wants to say something, but when we get too close, we poke each other. So I think that's the problem. And this is a conversation my mom and dad were having the other day, where my mom was bitching about she hires doctors or reads their credentials to eventually make her boss hire somebody, one of the doctors, right? And she was saying something to my dad, and they're like, they don't want to live here. Doctors don't want to live here because there's nothing to fucking do. And then my dad was like, well, that's stupid. I'm like, and then my mom was fucking started roasting the fuck out of him. I was like, yeah, because you're boring. Everybody else wants to do shit. And it's just that's what ends up happening living in this small parts, which is kind of good and bad, because I won't lie. I go to Seattle, I hang out with Nat, I go down the Ave. I would love to live in the U District. It would be so fucking fun. Bars, the people walking around. I would spend, I won't even lie, I would walk several miles a day just walking about the university. Not even going there, just having an apartment or something near there, and it would be fun. But politically too, with everything coming down on it, it's just there's homelessness, there's drug people around, odd shady people, and it's just note, I'm not trying to like fearmonger. It's only in sparsity, but it's like you think about it though, and then you look at it happening in front of you, and you kind of get discouraged about it. So it's just like, I want social interaction, but I can't have it due to the fear. So it's like, what the fuck do you want me to do? Like, we need to solve problems, but then the system doesn't want to do that. So you're just kind of screwed.
You know what's weird? I just thought of while you were saying that is I remember one of the last assignments I did for high school was our analysis thing on whatever book we decided to read. Mm-hmm. And I did mine as an analysis of Watership Down and how the rabbits in that story are comparable to people and like humans and how like humanity and nature are not different when you really look at it.
No.
And I was just thinking about that. I was like, because we were essentially like, because I've read stories about how other people graduate and like they get that, like their big graduation thing, like the graduation ceremony is like a final send off that you get to, or like that last day of high school senior year. Mm-hmm. Like you get to talk to everybody, see everybody kind of intermingles. You talk to people that you never really talked to before. It's like a big final send off to everybody that you've interacted with for the past
18, nearly like 12 years.
Yeah, but last almost 12 years of your life, you've seen most of these people. Mm-hmm. But for us, it was like we all thought we were going to get that final goodbye.
We never did.
But we didn't. And for me, my last day of high school was there were so few people that it was just like empty. And like going into adulthood now, because
it's still fucking empty.
It only stays empty. And I think like that's not something anybody's prepared for, but that is like the story that everybody always says is once you become an adult, you like enjoy having friends while you can, because once you get into the real world, you're kind of alone. And comparing that to animals, like a lot of animals, once they are get out of the adolescence period and reach like maturity, they spend the majority of their time alone until they make a family for themselves.
Monster.
So like we're really just the animals in that way. Like we reach adulthood and it's just like, all right, I guess you just gotta start figuring stuff out until you eventually settle down with a group.
I would say it's ultimately worse being human compared to like a bear or a lion or a tiger, you know, insert animal. For them, it's basic.
Yeah.
But then
they don't desire the interaction as much as we do.
But then in some cases, there's other species that like or get really sad. But like with humans, it's that, and then the higher intelligence and the emotional intelligence, and then it fucking makes it worse. Like way worse. You see it with dogs. Wolves, you really don't get it, but even dogs even do it when they're beside us. They get really sad or really happy, and it's just like it sucks. It really sucks to lose that constant like. Sure, I don't talk to most of these people, but I like this environment. Like, it's interesting.
At the very least, being around people your own age group, it makes a really big difference.
It does.
Because like you almost lose a sense of being able to relate to like what the people around you are saying. Because once you get to the workforce,
it's ass.
Like the people who have been there forever will always just see you as like the baby.
Yeah.
Like you'll never know as much as they know. So you'll never be able to relate to them in that way. And as time goes on, you'll then get the new workers coming in who then you will also still not be able to relate to, because they also, in the same way that you didn't, they don't know the experiences that you know, and they will have to learn those on their own.
Yeah. And then what makes it worse is like, I ultimately think this might be just an American thing. Is like, you don't have third places. You don't, there is no incentive / place to even have the opportunity to talk to somebody your age.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
Yeah. And that's why it's almost like how the animals are. 'Cause like once you get to that age where, especially when you're not in college anymore, it's like, you're really just set out, all right, I got to make a life for myself now.
Yeah.
Like you just got to figure out like how to live. Not to survive, but to live.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really, really weird. I don't know. COVID, it's being weird kind of being like a post-COVID high school kid. Just seeing what you're doing and other people. And you see other people's achievements and it's like, it's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah.
And especially being where in the position I am, being a YouTuber, it's double weird. It's like, I can't even like relate to you even in like in a job aspect or like your college experiences. Like I'm out here in the trenches of the fucking internet, dog.
Internet trenches.
I'm like,
yeah, because
different.
Even with college too, I went, but because of COVID, they pushed for the online aspect, which I was like, I don't feel like leaving my house. I'll just do all online.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe I missed out on an aspect of that, but like, I wasn't really social like that in high school either. But I don't know. It's just weird not like having that constant interaction with like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
That we were always used to. You, especially more than me, aren't getting the person-to-person interaction that we
hop on Discord, asshole.
But that's not person-to-person.
Oh, no, it's not. It's not.
It's not the same.
It's different. It feels really, really different.
It's like, I don't know. It's like, it's good to interact that way still, but it's like almost empty in a way.
Oh, no, it definitely is.
Especially when I like think about hanging out with like our old friends. It's like, I'd rather be with these guys in person.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've had moments where I go and visit now. I think I'm gonna be over there for a week, in Seattle for spring break. I think I might want to be like one day, be like, Jarrett, let's go to the bar.
Jarrett, let's go.
I need social interaction.
But like, I guess that was a big thing for me too, since I didn't even really have like the internet circle that you had.
Oh yeah.
So during that time where, especially when I wasn't working and like COVID just hit, I was really it was just me and Colby for the most part. So I honestly forgot how to talk to other people like a normal human.
I think so. I think a lot of people forgot how to talk.
Cause like in the sense where like you create like when a branch of people go out and like are secluded for a while, they'll create like their own way of speaking. That's essentially what happened between myself and Colby, where we just created our own, or I guess, yeah, Cliff was there too. So us three had our own way of like communicating that once I was back with people who weren't outside that group, it was like, how do I interact with people again?
So imagine that, but you're dumb and you explode it and try to politicize it and dramatize it. Then you have problems. Big problems. It was weird. It was post all of it. Now thinking about it like that, it was
it was definitely a slap into adulthood.
That, and it wasn't natural.
Yeah.
It abruptly ended. It was almost.
I think that's why like school ends the way it does. Is it's supposed to be like a natural progression to be like, all right, you're slowly just not gonna have what you used to have anymore. You're not gonna have those social interactions. You're not always gonna be hanging out with people. Like, and people aren't always gonna have time to hang out. But it's like for us, it was like an immediate. We're by ourselves.
I literally mean this. It was the death of childhood.
Yeah,
straight up. No, and I mean like abrupt death. It's like
immediate.
Dad went out for milk. He died in a car crash death. It wasn't like a slow, I'm now 90 years old in my high school career, and then it dies.
Yeah.
It was died.
It was just, all right, you're in the real world now. Because then we were immediately like, the world started just going crazy around us too.
Yeah.
Like protests and people just angry all the time.
It was angry. It was really, really angry.
It still is angry.
No, I don't think well, maybe you're right. Maybe it's still at the same level. Maybe it's
the COVID went away, but the anger stayed.
Yeah. There's a lot of resentment towards a lot of different people now.
Yeah.
Because it's
which sucks.
Almost invisible sides of like Not even politically. I mean, just like there's people who like cared versus just like people of survival. It's really weird. Like people who just want to go back to it, like normality before COVID. But then there's everybody like, nah, dog.
You can't.
We can't.
You literally cannot. It's impossible to go back to what that once was.
The root has been damaged. The trauma is there. Trauma is the okay. Technically, you can heal from trauma, but it's like a scar. It will always be on you. I was gonna try to point to my calf, but that one ended up healing. But like metaphorically, if you have like a deep tissue scar, that shit stays with you forever. Same idea applies on a society based level. It hurts. It is there. It changed people.
Yeah. It changed society.
Yeah.
Because people, like we've been saying, people don't socialize the way that they used to.
No.
Like,
and it was bad before. Now it's even worse.
It was already a problem, but once you gave people like that out of like
you don't need
not
to be here.
being in public, that is like no people really got a reason to go back. I think you see it especially with theaters, because constantly I'm seeing articles about how movies keep bombing in the box office. Things just keep getting worse for movie theaters. That's because people have been like pretty much programmed now to be like, well, the movie's just going to be on streaming soon, because that's what COVID pretty much set up, is movies would just go onto streaming for cheaper. You're paying less. Might as well just wait till it's there instead of going to the theater, which you're missing out on a huge aspect of the movie experience.
Don't care for social interaction. Just point blank. The fact that it doesn't cross your mind of, I want to go to the movies, not to watch the movie, but to enjoy it. That's why I wanted to watch Dune Part 2 in theaters. Because I was like, I want to sit down next to my girlfriend and fucking watch this movie.
Same reason with Sonic, too. I was like, I want to see this opening night in theater to have that audience reaction to
the
these
vibe,
scenes.
the feeling, the smells. As a whole, we are now part of a niche. Nobody gives a fuck about that shit.
Which sucks.
Looking at my dad too. Again, example of another case of mass liberals. It's like my father now likes the comfort of being like, I have a speaker system at home. It's gonna come out on theaters. I don't need to go to the movies. It's just like, so what you're telling me here, asshole, is you don't want to progress, but you still want to be in the back. What are we doing here?
You can't have it both ways.
It's like, what do we...
That's what I think really sucks, is at some point that niche thing that we like is not going to be a sustainable way of watching movies anymore.
Yeah.
Like the theaters aren't going to be able to sustain that, and that's going to eventually fade, and you're not going to be able to have that experience anymore.
Yeah.
Which is a huge loss for the media consumption of watching movies as a whole.
Yeah.
Because seeing people's reaction on the internet is not the same as being next to a random stranger.
Look, sure, you can get hype off of it, right? But it's not the same feeling.
Like the feeling of people freaking out watching Spider-Man No Way Home is a unique experience.
Yeah.
Like you can't recreate that in any other environment other than everybody watching, in a bunch of strangers watching this movie in one place.
Yeah. And I would also have to say, looking into it further, I kind of really do hate how there is really no incentive to really talk anymore.
Yeah.
I would really love, I know I don't do it with you because you don't like alcohol, but it's just like, I do like the idea of being like, Alex, you want to go to the bar and just shoot the shit? I'm down with that. But but here's the thing. There's the chatting, and then there's just the abuse of it, and then it becomes a coping mechanism. So we're only there to cope. So it's not there to actually talk. So it's weird. Like social places are not what they should be and are not treated how they should be. There's no, God, I'm sounding fucking old when I'm saying this. There isn't the respect of the pool table and the bar anymore, dog. It's just there to just drink out your sorrows or not to actually socially interact at all. There's nothing. It's been dead for like
that's the biggest
60 years.
problem. Is it's like not even like there's not even places outside of bars to interact.
No, there really isn't.
for me, somebody who doesn't like to drink, it's like there's nowhere
else
to interact other than those establishments.
Yeah.
Like and that's not even a COVID thing. That's just a thing that's disappeared for the longest time.
It ultimately made it worse. And in specific with our generation, it's like a 3 times debuff. No social interaction, no places to social interact, no incentive to social interact. Was a generation that was technically half built on the idea of not being able to socially interact because of social media. And so then you were hit with a trifecta.
And that's one of the things that, looking back, frustrates me the most, is how much we were gaslit that social media was such a good thing to have.
No.
It's like,
it was so bad.
It makes it so much more empty because, I have all like my friends that I used to know, I follow them, but I'm seeing them and interacting with them just as little as it was before, except now I'm just given the constant reminder that they're there and I just don't have the means of talking to them.
Yeah.
Like,
it sucks.
It's just a constant reminder of loneliness.
It really is. No, you're right. It blows ass to grow up also on the fact of seeing what it was like during the early 2000s and 90s and the 80s, and then to ultimately be like, you'll never have the small glimpse of like a high school like romance or thing, or like after you graduate high school and then you go into the workforce and having that like really close person to person interaction, dating wise, or like past that. It's all kind of like dead on the floor now.
Yeah, and maybe that's just what sucks about living in a small town is there's just overall not enough people.
Which is so weird because 20,000 people is a lot of people.
It is a lot of people.
I have 3 times that amount of on my channel. It's crazy.
And yet somehow that's not enough to really make an impact, because the most people of this town keep to their own small little cliques.
Yeah.
And that's what sucks, because then the people who don't like that lifestyle move out and then leave people like us with no one to hang out with.
My girlfriend, she does not like it here. She likes to be in Seattle. I'm gonna have to be fair with her. I like it too.
You can't really blame her because
I can't.
There's nothing and no one really here.
No. Not at fucking all.
Which is, it's sad to say, because like we used to have so much going on, but the hard reality is that's really only because we were all forced into a building together.
Real. However, Hope Core. You can still find a way out and still make it the best you can. And that's what you should do. And that's the overall message of this episode. You can do things. Even though all of this has happened in our lives, we have progressed. And I'd overall say that I have grown up to be a young, fine man.
And I think overall we are probably heading towards a cultural reset with how we view the internet, especially with now how bad it's gotten with how empty the internet feels. There is, I think, gonna be a longing for that human to human reaction.
It's gonna happen.
Interaction where people are gonna start wanting to have these spaces to hang out again. Yeah. Like I think it's probably gonna start with like the parks. People are just gonna start going to parks a lot more. Yeah. And like just doing things outside the house just to interact with other people.
I was talking to Victor at Leprechaun the other day, and I was telling him, I was like, yeah, man, I saw the fucking sun come out the other day. Daylight savings was over, and I was like, I gotta go do something. At the 13 colony steak. I've been wanting to make that goddamn sandwich for months now. And the fact that I went outside my house, got the groceries for it, came back home and made that sandwich was such an awesome fucking experience. It's such a dude thing, but I fucking made the greatest fucking. I guess it's more like a cheesesteak, but not like a Philly cheesesteak like sandwich I made. But fuck, was it awesome! And like I don't know, it was just fun leaving the house, even to do something like that.
It is actually so fun. Like or even if you can't leave the house, just finding new things to do around and just
Like hobbies.
Just keeping yourself busy with random hobbies is just so fun. And I guess that's one thing that like a good byproduct of the whole COVID thing is I think a lot more people learned that having a hobby is fun.
It is. It definitely is. I got into
Having
Warhammer
multiple
recently.
hobbies is very fun.
It is. I got into Warhammer today. My my glasses came in to magnify my eyes. No, they actually look pretty good. They're like glasses. They're not like the headset, so I don't look too crazy. But like I was so like, I can't wait to paint my miniatures. But it was fun. Just gluing them all together. It's just it's nice to have a good hobby.
Yeah.
It really is. I highly recommend anybody just starting something, because it really does get you out of your headspace for a little bit, for the most part. And I think a lot of people just need to do it.
Yeah, I think overall, I think I need more human interaction.
No, I genuinely need it, man. Like, but like quality human interaction.
Yeah.
It's not like for me and Nat. Sometimes when
Like
we hang out with people,
actual conversation.
yeah, we're forced to hang out with people or forced to do things. Parents don't count. Parents do not fucking count in any social interactions. Go fucking find randoms or friends.
I mean, it's good to interact with the people of your family and household.
Yeah.
I do it because it brings fulfillment, but you do, I think, have to.
Break out of the circle.
Yeah, you
do
gotta
something.
you gotta talk to other people.
That girl you saw the other day, talk to her. Don't even, not even for any like sexual reason. Just be like, what fucking color do you think the sky should be, or something stupid?
And I know we're gonna start winding down here soon, but that's why I like going to the boba shop, because it's literally
God, I haven't got boba in a while.
It's
I'm
just
feeding.
you sit down in a seat. You don't have to talk to the other people around you, but just having the other people around you is just nice.
Yeah, I
And
gotta go to
everybody's
boba.
just chilling, enjoying their time, dining out. Actually, it's actually a lot more enjoyable than what I remember.
I like going to Denny's. I like going to Denny's. I like going to Sherry's. I like going to Sumo's when I have the opportunity to. Dining out's nice.
And
It's nice.
maybe that was just something that I gained from going to Japan, is just because it was constant dining out experiences, being in those rooms with a bunch of people, just living life.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird.
It really does show you. I will always criticize the American government because they do falter in so many goddamn ways. It is crazy how you realize how poorly managed the U.S. is.
It's so bad.
It's really, really bad. Is like the fact that
Poorly managed and hateful.
Oh, it's bad. Where there's not incentive just to be a person. There really isn't. Because what you see with Japan, Germany, some of these more successful countries, I wouldn't even fucking say China, which is fucking crazy to admit, is that they are like, hey, leave your fucking house. Go fucking do something.
Go enjoy life.
Go, come on, like go do it. It's like, da, 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 da. It's like, it's kind of crazy, man. It really, really is how like here living in the States, there's not you don't get that. It's work, sleep, da, 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 till the weekend or when you have break. It's piss poor.
Like I said, that might still also just be a result of us living in this small town, because the majority of people, how they live their life here is it's like you work, then everybody gets absolutely hammered on the weekends, and then work. And it's like, I get like you're getting some form of that social interaction, but I don't feel like you're getting the meaningful part of that social interaction, because you're not really doing anything.
You're just drowning your sorrows. It's like with me and Nat, right? So me and Nat, I like to go out and do things with my girlfriends, but I also like laying in bed and just doing fucking nothing. That's
good.
That's a personality thing with Alex.
Both things are good though.
Yes.
I think you need a balance of both of those things.
Yeah. But like sometimes to ease the pain. So Nat recently just figured this out, where she was stressing, right? And it was like, she came to this conclusion. She was like, wait a minute, Kristen used to drink while doing homework. Have I been doing this wrong? I'm like, you haven't been getting high and or drunk or doing really anything to numb the pain? And Nat just went, no. I'm like, mind you, woman has not drank, this is up until recently, hasn't drank an energy drink for any of her classes up until like last week. She's been in college for 4 years, hasn't had to drink a Red Bull in order to function. I'm like, first off, that's superhuman. Second off, some people need to take off the edge like that. It's sometimes a requirement. I understand that now. But on the flip side of that,
some people abuse that.
Some people do abuse that, but like some people do need that social interaction, and to start that is through substances or just some other means is important. But like it's weird how that's not treated like that anymore here. It's like, but you'd ultimately think it'd be more beneficial, right?
Yeah, I think though at the same time to say finding social interaction through substances might not be the best avenue to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's probably
remember, like I said, taking off the edge.
But I think though, like finding
there has to be a mediating thing.
A thing that everybody's actually doing.
Yeah.
Like you're actually doing an activity. Like not consuming something. That's not an activity. That's consuming something. But an actual...
You consume the thing, then you go do the activity. Go
like
wander.
Actually doing something. I think people forget this part. Because I went out with my coworkers one time after work. And it just seems like the majority of the time that is all they like people do is they just sit around and just drink and talk. And it's like, okay, we're getting there, but we actually have to do something to make this meaningful, or else we're just kind of wasting time.
And that's another thing too. It's kind of weird. Some people just want to do that. While others like us kind of do want to do something.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it boils down to. I think even pre and now definitely after post COVID, the whole like social intelligence is flat zero.
Yeah.
Maybe 1, maybe, but like it's gone.
It's bad. It is actually bad.
Yeah.
But we can fix it.
We can.
We can. And I think we probably will have to.
The closest thing we'll get to hanging out after work is being in VC tonight playing Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
And then Friday when fucking Joey has time.
Joey.
Play with him.
But yeah, I think at some point though, like this whole social media thing, it's not sustainable the way it is now. No. And I think at some point people are just going to start dropping off of it and actually meeting in person again.
Yeah. There's gonna be at some point, like almost like during the hippie era where everybody was doing drugs, and then after it, people just then stopped because it was too much. I feel like it's gonna happen like the 2010s with the social media era, and I think later on in the 20s, maybe early 30s, we'll be like, we gotta fucking do something.
All right, because that's a huge problem that I see is people are glued to their phones.
Yeah. I'm glued,
even in social places.
I don't want to be there. Sometimes I won't even lie. Today, for the most part, I really didn't watch a whole lot of YouTube. Sure, I scrolled on Twitter, watched Invincible, saw people's reactions, but like I was just existing. I kind of wanted to read. I didn't do it because I was like, I was, what the fuck was I doing? I forgot what I was doing. That's fine.
It doesn't even matter.
I was just enjoying myself. I was just existing, just for the most part, just away from it, and it just feels nice. I love when I have a YouTube video set out and I have another one coming thanks to an editor. I love to just sit and like properly relax, because I know my brother and my dad bitch about this constantly because they'll see me just sitting around doing nothing, but it's just like, you two are jackasses and assholes. My brain is constantly on fire over time thinking about
just
YouTube
sometimes
and having nothing to think about.
Oh, and that's what I loved.
Beautiful.
That's what I loved about when I would mow the lawn, is it was just like
you and the lawn,
hours of just straight
lines,
thoughts. And I guess the same time too, working at the hospital cleaning the rooms is like the same thing. When you're doing like a mindless task, that's like the greatest time for your creative brain to just be like.
I bet some of my million like per view videos were from working
at the hospital because like you're just given time to just think about
the amount of
stuff.
times I've gone. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
just out the blue is awesome.
I love mindless labor.
But for good stuff, because eventually you think for yourself.
Because it gives you the opportunity to just.
Because even now, I know like I stopped thinking about YouTube for like the past 2 days, but like my brain's all like giving ideas, but it's not like a constant stressful line of fire. It's just like silence.
Here's
a good idea.
This would be interesting.
Good idea.
And that
silence
again.
It's not idea. Stress.
This all circles back when you're having these social interactions and doing activities outside of that. You also gain new perspectives and new ideas that help you creatively if you create.
Hobbies are important.
I'm
going to start painting soon. So that's my thing.
Like the figure painting, or are you going to actually also?
No, figure painting for the most part. But I'm going to be honest, some people really do treat that as like painting because they end up making dioramas.
Hey, I mean, it's just you can put a lot of detail into those.
You fucking can. Like, look, I won't even lie. Like, my dad was like complaining. He was like, maybe you should get your eyes checked if you can't see. But some of these miniatures have super fine details.
Crevices.
I'm like, there's no way without these glasses would I be able to do that. I know there's technically the rule too of like nobody's gonna actually like be up this close to looking.
But
at them.
it's for your enjoyment.
Yeah, it's my brain. It's how I work with thumbnails. Like no one's gonna notice this white outline, but I am, and it's like
when I put the sticker on the Lego and it's just slightly off, and I'm like,
that's gonna make me angry.
Like nobody else looking at it will care, but I do.
It's the art.
It is the art of it.
With that all being said, we should probably end the podcast.
Yeah,
because I can already feel my girlfriend's texted me 3 or 4 times now, and it's like, "Where the fuck are you?
Where are you?"
And I'm like, "Well," and you know what makes this bad? So this is for all documentational purposes. When in a few weeks or like a week when this comes out, I'll be like, "Hey, remember when I didn't have my phone and you got angry at me? Here's the entire fucking video of me being like, hey, I don't have my phone right now. I'm gonna get yelled at." Because she was having a stressful thing. Also, going back on that social interaction stuff, before ending it, right now, Nat is currently doing like a party for her major at her house, but she doesn't want to do it at all. Forced social interactions blow ass and do the opposite of what we've been saying.
The opposite of fulfillment. When you're forced to do something, do anything you don't want to do.
It sucks. But in specific with social interactions, garbage.
It's torture.
Yeah.
Actual torture.
And then too,
I feel for that.
So, yeah, that's what's currently happening. So, babe, in the future, I wasn't lying. I have no phone. I can't text you.
I'm sorry, Nat.
No,
I steal Alex for.
I'm gonna say this. She probably doesn't want this to be out there, but sometimes when she spends a week here or doing something, she gets jealous and goes, "Why go to the podcast?" I'm like, "Because I have to go to the podcast. I got to record
obligation."
It's like it's my obligation. But like, I want to spend time with you, and I'm like, I have to go to the podcast. I'll be gone for an hour. I'll be back. You have me for like 23 hours of the whole day. You have like 1 hour.
Yeah,
I love you, babe. I love you.
It's fine.
It's fine. You can be in the background. I've offered her to do that. Sometimes it's like be in the background or like, I don't know, play with Angie or something if you want to wait, or like be on the podcast. She's like, no, it's fine. I'm like, I give you a solution. We're not doing anything about it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
All right. Well, anyway,
that's it. I'm kind of tired.
Go take a nap. Your brother was playing Monster Hunter.
It's time to.
I know. All right. Well, with that all being said, like, comment, share, subscribe.
Two more episodes, and then or one more episode, and then it's the season finale of season 3. Mm-hmm. So tune in next week, and then the week after, and then we head into our 4th year of doing the podcast.
That's fucking crazy.
But anyway, we'll see you guys next time.
Deuces.